What is up, creators? This is Tom. Welcome back to another video. I hope you are all doing well. So I've got a cool video today. I've teased it a bunch on my YouTube community tab. I've also posted about it on Instagram and things like that. But I shot my first music video a couple of weeks ago. Now I've been shooting professional video for the last sort of 5-6 years, and I've been working full-time for myself as a freelance videographer, photographer for the last sort of 6 months or so. But I had never shot a music video. So I was really interested to try this out. I have a whole new respect for music video producers. Not that I didn't have any respect for them before, but it was harder than I was actually thinking. But I was super happy with the result. I'll play the music video now for you. I hope that you enjoy it.
Keep looking out of the window. Still there's people traveling. Might be doing the right things, but now it looks like a sin. It's true, I miss it all, but it can't be for long. It's so overwhelming, all the nights that we have to spend. The fear of no returning, I'm picking up to where we left. No one really knows where we're going, no one knows when it's gonna end. Gotta keep on smiling, even if you have to, even if you have to pretend. The queues are getting so busy, we stand with gloves on our hands. It's not worth feeling dizzy to get our favorite branch. It's true, days can go quick. It's hard not to reminisce. It's so overwhelming, all the nights we have to spend. The fear of no returning, I'm picking up to where we left. No one really knows where we're going, no one knows when it's gonna end. Gotta keep on smiling, even if you have to, even if you have to pretend. If you have to pretend, oh, you can't see it from pretend. There's nowhere to go, just gotta sit hold tight. Stuck in the same room, it makes it hard to sleep at night. There's nowhere to go, just gotta sit hold tight. All the things we're hearing, do they really know? Do they really know? Do they really know what's right? It's so overwhelming, all the nights we have to spend. The fear of no returning, I'm picking up to where we left. No one really knows where we're going, no one knows when it's gonna end. Gotta keep on smiling, even if you have to, even if you have to pretend. If you have to pretend, you can't see it from pretend.
There we go, guys. I hope you did enjoy that. So there's a few things I want to talk about in this video. First of all is sort of just the things I learned shooting a music video for the first time. Like, I didn't charge for this project. It was a free project that I collaborated with Josh Robinson on. He's a really up and coming artist in the UK, so I was very excited to collab with him on this music video. But like I said, we shot this with a budget of absolutely nothing. So it's very similar to, you know, anyone else if they were shooting a music video maybe for the first time. Like, we just wanted to see what we could get, how good the production could be when, you know, we didn't want to spend a ton of money on the production. So I'm going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the gear that I used on the shoot. I'm going to talk about some things that I learnt from the production of my first music video. And then we're going to talk about some things that I would change, some things that I would have done differently. And if you are thinking of shooting maybe your first music video yourself, some sort of takeaways and things you can learn or change just from the experience of me shooting my first one. First of all, like I said, we're going to talk about the gear. So I shot this entirely on my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. This is my rig that I used for the shoot. This is the sort of new handheld rig that I'm going for. I'm going to have a video coming out after this one, like a few days after this video, so consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing the rig, where I basically sort of break down the rig, just because I've sort of perfected it after using the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera for the last sort of good few months, 6 months or so, and it's just really like I'm finding it super good to shoot handheld with. It's got enough weight on it now that like this is just a really like nice stable rig for good handheld shots. I don't have an SSD in there at the moment because it's plugged into my computer, but like this is the, you know, it was the entire rig. I used the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 lens for pretty much the entire video. As I mentioned, obviously a variable ND filter on the front here, and I used a lot of tripod shots, as you will see. So I either shot it handheld or I was using a tripod, as there was quite a lot of locked off shots in this video. So like I said, I will cover the sort of every single aspect of this rig in my follow-up video to this video, but super minimal in terms of gear. Obviously you don't need a camera like this. I even have some shots that I shot using the Canon M50 on the same shoot, so you really don't need a camera like this. This is just the camera which I use for my professional work, so I brought it along with me. You know, I think it's maybe a bit of a cheat to call it like zero budget video production, but like I had this to my disposal, so use the best tool that you have to your disposal, and for me it was this. So what did I learn from this production? First of all is that angles are insanely important for a music video. That might sound sort of like just self-explanatory in terms of like, yeah, obviously you need multiple angles, but lots of music videos are shot using different scenes, and because we decided to actually just shoot it in one scene, like one location, the angles were extremely important. We wanted to get nice and creative with the different angles that we got. I actually think my favorite angle from the entire shoot was this one with the negative space in the frame. Like Josh is just sort of looking out into the distance in this sort of like just playing the guitar, looking out, and is sort of centered in quite a small way in the frame. And for me, that was probably my favorite shot. So you don't always need to focus on sort of crazy motion. Like I said, most of the angles in this video were entirely shot either handheld or using a locked off tripod shot, just like this one right now. So talking briefly about those locked off shots, I think they can be extremely powerful, as I mentioned. Like I wanted Josh for a couple of the shots in the video. It's a music video, you're not needing to worry about sound, so I wanted them to be super wide. Even the first shot in the video, like it's nice and wide. Josh is sort of on his own in the middle of the video. The song is about isolation, and it's really important that I wanted him on his own in center frame, and the frame to be nice and wide, locked off, no motion, entire focus on Josh. And then we're talking about sort of tying in the song to the location and the narrative that you choose to use for the video. So the song, like I said, was about sort of isolation and him on his own. So we decided to just shoot it in this location near to where I grew up. So it was super easy for me to sort of know what we were going to get. But they had this sort of like rushing grass in the summer, which is super nice to shoot in. I knew he would just sort of stand out on his own, and then we waited for a super clear day to make sure we weren't getting a ton of cloud cover. And for me, because the song is about isolation and being lonely throughout the lockdown period here in the UK, this was a really important thing. I wanted Josh as an isolated subject on his own, no other people around. I also think the song and the style that Josh plays lended itself really well to handheld shooting. So I did shoot quite a lot of this music video handheld, just using that rig which I've shown you before. He has sort of a folksy pop sort of better vibe, and that was really sort of, like I said, it lended itself really well to getting up close and personal, nice and wide with the Sigma 18-35 and focusing on his guitar. Shots where it's sort of not entirely perfect. Like I wouldn't have wanted to use, for instance, a gimbal on a shoot like this because the look and feel of that footage would have been entirely wrong for the type of music that is being played, in my opinion. And then also just make sure you have tons of coverage from all of those different angles. So make sure you are sort of covering like the entire song from each individual angle, as it will make it easier to cut later. Okay, so now we're moving on to things I would have changed about the shoot, about the production, about the editing. So ideally for me, I would have actually shot this video over multiple different days. Like we actually just did it in one shoot, one day, and I think I would have added an additional location, maybe 2 additional locations, and then we wouldn't have had to rely so much on the lighting changing. Because the lighting changed so much dramatically around golden hour, it would have been very weird to have like different shots from later in the video, earlier. So we sort of had to almost like tell a story of the sunset in the end, which I do think was quite effective, but I would have actually thrown in a few different additional days of shooting, and that would mean that we didn't need to sort of like actually rely too heavily on the lighting to sort of assist in telling the story of the music video. Another piece of advice would be to get full coverage from every angle. I know I briefly touched on this, but I actually found it quite tricky in the edit because I did get a little bit lazy on a few of the angles or shots that I really liked. I should have just got Josh to sing the entire song from start to finish on every single angle that I was shooting, as it makes it way easier to cut in post. It basically just means that you're saving yourself a headache later because you can use whichever section of the music video for whichever section of the video, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense, but we're gonna go with it anyway. Just make sure you have full coverage for every angle. Okay, my last point sort of ties into the edit, and it got quite complicated for me personally, just in the edit. Like I said, I've not edited a music video before, and normally when you're working with multiple angles, multiple cameras, you would create a multi-sequence or a multi-cam sequence. Now you can't do that with a music video because the timings won't match up, because inevitably the timings is ever so slightly different on each clip. I don't really know what my point is here, but I just found it tricky to edit, and I wasn't expecting to find it quite so hard. It definitely took longer than it should, and I think there is a more efficient, better way to edit this music video than I did, and I think maybe it's just because I haven't edited a music video before. If anyone is like an experienced music video editor and would like to share some tips with me in the description, I would be super happy. But overall, I think I was extremely happy with the production. I'm really buzzed to see the video out in the open now. I wanted to work with an artist like Josh who maybe doesn't have a ton of music videos sort of in the like already on his portfolio. So I wanted to make a video because it was my first one. I wanted it to be a useful asset for him as well. So if you are thinking of making a music video, I would just say go and shoot. Like this took me one reach out on Instagram and then one day of shooting and a few hours in the edit room. But I actually have an asset which I was really proud of and is a good portfolio piece for me if I want to go ahead and maybe pitch for a music video in the future. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, found it useful or helpful. If you do have any tips or questions about music videos, drop them in the comment section. I'd love to start a conversation with everyone down there sharing their sort of music video best tips, and I'll catch you guys next time.